Leroy Jenkins and Jerry in his house.
Leroy Jenkins, baby.
Yeah, man.
Leroy Jenkins. Oh, that's old school good stuff right there, man. I'd play with people like that. They drive you fucking nuts.
I'm kind of like that. So tonight, we're gonna talk about the Ardent FX infuser, which is it's a decarb machine and a infuser machine and a baking machine all in one. It can do a lot of things. I'm gonna get the party started though. I made this big ass. This is actually like 1/3.
1/3 of a pan.
Yeah, this is 1/3 of a pan. My wife ate like a bite this size, like literally like not even a bite. She said it was half the size of her gummies, and she slept for like 20 hours.
I can see where this is going. I can see where this is going.
So I used the Ardent FX, and what I did is when I was trimming my weed, I had one plant from my gelato that it grew taller than me, Jerry. Like the tops were taller than me. And when I harvested it, I basically like felt down each stalk and figured out where the nugs stopped being like thumb-like. They were like all like little thumbs, and then suddenly they're a little bit thinner. Okay. Everything that was below the thumb height, I stripped off all the leaves and put all of the nugs into this. So yeah, so this was all like just the small nugs, and this thing filled up pretty high. It holds the instructions say 4 ounces. But I think it was a little bit more than that after I ground it all up.
Everything Troy does is a little bit more, brother, of course.
And then after I decarbed it, I used as little amount of oil as possible, like just trying to make my oil as potent as possible. So I used just enough to like cover all of the material. And then I used the French press method to squeeze it all out. And I made some potent ass brownies. And I'm going to eat this big ass piece tonight, right now.
So you're going at it 1/3 of a pan at a time. I love you, man.
To be honest, this scares me a little. We should have like pre-recorded some stuff today just in case, because this thing turned me into like Frankenstein, man. Or actually not Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster, technically. It
Take your time.
I used coconut oil. And I can taste the coconut.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I'd rather taste the coconut than taste the weed. It doesn't taste weedy at all.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Some people aren't like that, but I am. I'm with you too. I like the coconut as well. And you said that's kind of what you smelled the most in the kitchen anyhow, was coconut oil, right?
Well, no, it's what my wife smelled. To me, it smelled like weed until my wife told me it smelled like coconut. And then, like, once I told my brain that's coconut,
it was coconut.
Now it smells like coconut.
That's funny, man.
And now it tastes like coconut.
That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. So you're beating that thing up. I am vaping tonight all night on decarb. Already, this stuff has already been decarbed in the Ardent. So I could eat it, but we're going to show you some clips here. We had a really good interview with the owner and inventor of the Ardent, Chanel. And man, she was blowing our minds. She's amazing. She said that some of her, the people who have the Ardent that vape, decarb their bud first, and then they are reporting that it's stronger. So I'm gonna put that to the test, bro. This is what I'm vaping tonight, is this stuff here. So it doesn't make any sense to me that when I lose the terps that it's going to be stronger. But she talked about some of the things it did on the higher end. Those might be things I'll already do because I'm at higher temps. I don't know. I started to think about it, Troy. It might be that it's better for low temp vapors because then they still capture all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm going to find out.
I've heard, and I don't have any actual sources to cite, unfortunately, but I've been told from people who have had things tested or whatever that even when you vape weed, it doesn't fully decarb it. So like if you're eating your ABV, you can get higher from your ABV by decarbing it fully first.
Okay. So we might be on that same path there. So yeah, we'll find out. Well, Troy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a quick unboxing here so people know what the hell we're talking about. Is that cool? First of all, just in case some of you don't know what we're talking about, because we're not talking about a vaporizer tonight, is if you've seen the magical butter before, that's been kind of like the one manufactured, mass-produced, decarb, get ready to make your edibles product that's been out for 5+ years. It's really kind of the only one. I have another one here that's a little cheesy thing you just put on your stovetop and monitor it, and it's kind of cool. It works, but this takes all that shit to a new level. It is a big honking box. Not as big as the butter was, though. The butter was square and all that, the magical butter. But anyway, when you get that thing, you get this nice carrying case with your Ardent FX in it. Now, this is the Ardent FX. They also have a Nova, which is their first one and their older one. This is the FX. And once I started using it, it's so easy, and I really dig it. I'll tell you why. This is the plug and the stand where you put it when you're using it. And then this case right here is real nice. That gets set off to the side, and then this is all you really mess with after you put that away. This plugs in, and then the Ardent just sits right on it, turns green, and then you can use the M button to pick which setting you want, the power button to start it, and then you just walk away at decarbs. If that's the setting you use. They've also got an infuse and a bake, so you can throw your weed in here and infuse it, and then add your oils and infuse it. No, I meant put your weed in here and decarb it, get the oils in and infuse it, and then you can make something with that oil and bake it all in the same thing. I did that the first time I got it, and it was really fun. I was made muffins and a little cake, and it was pretty cool. Actually, I went to sleep. Troy, this is a real good sleep machine, that's for sure.
Yeah, I noticed it has like sensors in there. So like when I filled it up, like when I packed it full, it took a long time. It took like 2 hours to decarb. But then the next day when I was actually I trimmed and I put maybe like an eighth in there, or maybe a quarter ounce, and I decarbed it again just to like watch it work. I think it did it in like 50 minutes or 55 minutes. So it has like a sensor in there, and it raises the temperature but not too high, and it does its thing in an automatic way where you don't have to fucking set timers or bother with it. I have a clip of Chanel. We can introduce Chanel.
Yes.
Where she talks about the technology here.
You've got more than one temp sensor, and there's probably reasons for that. And I'd love to pick your brain about the tech in here a little bit.
Yes. It's like what moms say. It's what's on the inside that counts, right? Like it might look very simple on the outside, but it's really a high-tech device if you break it down. So, one of the primary features that's really important is the heater that wraps all the way around, right? So when you think about like cooking with an oven or a toaster oven, think about where the heating elements are. They're like above and below. Or just like a crock pot just below, right? And that's why in those different things, it's very hard or near impossible to get that very even heating, because again, they're kind of made to like toast things on the outside. And so here we have a heater that wraps all around the entire cavity. So from the top to the bottom, there's a heater wrapping around the whole thing. So you're just getting nice, even heating, surrounding here. And I'm going to take this out. Like I showed you guys earlier, I have my little snack in here, so I'm gonna eat that.
Yes, throw that off.
My little keef cake here. So I decarbed some keef earlier, but when it comes down to this, so there's the first heater, and then Jerry, like you said, there's two sensors. So there's one sensor that's actually embedded here at the bottom of the heater. You can see that kind of like a little indent there at the bottom. There's like a sensor on the other side there, and then there's also a sensor embedded in the heater itself. And so everything's controlled by an algorithm that's sitting in here. And basically what's happening is when the cycle starts, it's heating the heater up, but it's making sure that this heater is never going above a temperature that's going to harm those cannabinoids. At the same time, the other sensor all the way in the interior is also being monitored, so it gets up to the right temperature, right? So that everything, even in the very middle where there is no heat, is actually reaching that right temperature, right? And so it's this incredibly controlled, and these are RTD sensors, so they're like the most precise sensors that you can get your hands on. And really, it's just creating this like very lab grade heating that's very gentle, incredibly precise, and accounting for not just the heat on the outside, but actually is everything in the middle getting heated up as well. And so that's kind of a little peek into the technology, behind the device.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Lizard Joel, you're right, man. Listen, we've only got 8 to 10 minutes worth of clips of her for you tonight, but we spent an hour with her, and man, you're going to want to watch every minute of it. She is amazing, drops knowledge left and right, passionate as shit about this stuff, man. Like, you'll get why the product is special and what's special about her. I was blown away, Troy. I really was.
Dude, yeah, she knows her shit. She has like a real driven vision for this. Like, it's not just like someone tapping into the market. Like, I don't want to say anything bad about Magical Butter, but damn, there's a similar machine that's been on the market for like 30 years. It's called like a soup blender or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a plug-in soup machine, like in
Right.
the European market for like $30, and it's like the exact same thing with a different name on it. Curious, that's all.
Right.
Like this thing, she has a story. She has a purpose. She wanted to solve a problem.
Yeah, and she's got tons of experience. I mean, it's funny because I'd talked to her once before, a few months ago, and I thought she was maybe in her mid-20s. And then when she talked to you and I, she talked about how she'd done this for 20 years, and I was like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
And then she said she has a kid, and she started talking more about her life. I was like, oh man, that's incredible. I mean, she's got a lot of years on this thing as far as getting to this point. And there were so many times when we talked that it was really neat. I mean, she talked about it and she goes, like, this is my baby. You know what I mean? And you can tell, man, there's love in this thing, man. Like she loves edibles. She loves decarbing the process. She loves all of it. And it shows in this. This thing is not just, like you said, it's not just a product thrown on the market to try to tag along. She's blazing a path and she's going to teach us things, man. It's amazing. I'm excited about it. You've been using the hell out of it with your big loads there, right?
I have. I've made a lot of oil. I've made a lot of oil with it. I've made a lot of butter with it. I want to start getting into like making gummies and all that shit. But right now, since I'm growing, I've grown several pounds in the last couple months, which means I have a lot of trim and I have a lot of stuff that's very usable. So it's easy just to cram it in here and make oil, make butter, make some quick edibles. My wife likes it. My kid likes it. So it's perfect. By the way, I'm down to half of the brownie, and it's a lot of brownie, man. It's a lot of brownie.
Yeah.
Like even I've done some tablespoonfuls of the coconut oil, which actually isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I when the thought of downing a tablespoon of oil is, but after doing it didn't taste all that bad. Didn't taste all that great. I wouldn't do 2 in a row. Probably do 1 and then wait 5 minutes and then do it again.
Dude, it messed you up.
It did. Yeah. It was a real great baseline.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling this.
Already? Nice.
Well, I took the first bite 20 minutes ago. I haven't eaten since 10 a.m.
You're going down, bro. You're kidding me. You're eating on an empty stomach.
8 hours. 8 hours. I've had some coffee.
Had some coffee. Okay, that's good. On an empty stomach?
The brownie is going to creep up on me.
It might do more than that if you got an empty stomach, man. That's great. No, that's interesting. She kind of mentioned that the problem with infusing is then you're limited in how much you can use, because if you're using a recipe, it calls for only so much butter. And this is what bugged me is when I made my butter, I was like, you got to eat a lot of shit, because when I made butter, I was like, fuck, the only time I got really high off my butter, I had to make a butter sandwich. Like I had a slab of butter in there.
I remember that.
That fucked me up. But she said, you don't have to do that. You can just decarb and then put it on anything you eat. So you're not changing your diet, you just put it on there. And that works for me, because for someone like you can put a shit ton in and do all kinds of fun things. Where I am at, where, you know, I've got to go and pay top dollar for my weed at a dispensary. I'm only throwing a little bit in for the meals for the day. So, and she said you could do that, and it's cool. I just throw a few nuggets in and let it push a button and walk away, and then I can use it throughout the day through my stuff. It's killer. I started using it tonight. So it does it all, man. Also, they're always coming out with these accessories. They've got this for people like me who haven't figured out how to make food. She's got a kit. This is an apple pie kit where you've got the shells and the filling and some coconut oil, and it's basically just add weed in the Ardent. And really, more than anything, what this does, she says, is it's not like I'm gonna keep buying these. This is gonna teach me how easy it is, and then it'll be so much fun for me to go out on my own. So I'm gonna do this very soon. I wanted to show you first. And you can cook them in the Ardent too, with their this thing here. They got this that goes inside the FX, so you can just, oh look, I've got my sleeving instructions in here, but it goes in like that, and then you can cook cookies or pies, or whatever the hell you're cooking on it, or you can even decarb on that, and then just when you're done, pull it out, and there's your goodies. But this thing is really cool. I have it sits over there now, and I'll get up in the morning, throw some bud in there and decarb it, and then start playing with it. I haven't made a decision yet on if I think it's stronger than what I normally do, but it certainly vapes a lot. Dude, we should roll a clip now. We got some more. That'll lead us into the next thingy. What's the difference between what it does with THC versus CBD? I didn't know there was something to do there different. What's going on there?
Yep. So CBD, CBD is a little bit more fragile than THC, first of all. So it's really important that it has like the gentle heating. And then it converts at a higher temperature. So it's slightly higher temperature than the THC setting for best activation of CBD.
So it's more delicate and needs a higher temperature. So
Exactly. And that's what we've seen, because if you're putting it in the oven, like CD definitely has a higher tendency to degrade versus the THC, even with tiny, both of them are very sensitive. And we're talking about the difference between like 2 or 3 degrees here. People that are trying to do it in the oven and getting good results, they're like having temperature sensors and having to go back and babysit a lot and do all of these things that become, really difficult. And again, at the end of the day, you're still kind of left wondering, like, wait a minute, did opening that one more time like cause an issue or whatever? And so again, just being able to have something that is like, very science-based. And that was important. I mean, you guys can imagine, like when I came on the scene with this 5 years ago, being like, hey, everybody who's been doing it for 20 plus years, 40 years, you've been doing it wrong. Like, things like, oh yeah, totally. Right. No, you have to like really lead with the science, right? Like and that's what I say, like the science doesn't lie.
The science doesn't lie.
I love that ending, man.
I can't believe she did that slow motion voice like that.
She's passionate, bro. I told you, passionate. Love it, man. I love it. Yeah, man. She's got it down, man. Like they have a blog page. There you go. So this is their website, and I'm on their Learn Education page. And you got guides and recipes and decarb diaries and all kinds of stuff about their testing and usage and their news. All these different articles and recipes, and it's all with sciencey stuff. I mean, it's not just like, hey, here's another way to make cookies. This is like, hey, here's a way to make cookies, and they're stronger and they're better, and here's how. And they have this subscribe right here. I highly recommend subscribing. I never delete one of their emails. I always learn something from them. So I would sign up for that newsletter or that email. Those guys are great. And then if you get a unit, she said, I think in one of these about their Facebook community.
Yeah, she did. Let me roll.
Just as much as concentrates are taking off popularity in just using and smoking, they're taking off in the same popularity of like using them in cannabis products, right? Like it's absolutely the easiest way to, infuse honey or do, you just throw it in there, mix it with a little oil. I think the only challenge with concentrates is like getting good, consistent blending throughout, right? If you decarb concentrates and then you try to put them in like something cold, they can kind of like harden up and then you might not get that right blending. But all I do is like I add the concentrates, and then I add like a tiny bit of like coconut oil that makes it like, you know, blend nice and smooth and anything. And then you can make honey, you can make snacks. Like I'm very partial to keef also, again, with kind of like the flour, being into the flour. Like keef is like, and then rosin as well too. Like anything solventless, that's kind of my
I like keef too. What's the best way to go about making gummies? I like gummies.
Oh yeah, so it's funny. We have gummies. Gummies, I would say, is like one of the hot topics. And if you guys aren't part of the Facebook group, you definitely have to go and join that. It's called Ardent Glad You Can Decarb.
That's great.
It's for users only. Like it's an exclusive group. You can only get in if you have the device. And it's funny because gummies, I would say that is like one of the top questions. And we have this awesome guy, his name's Matt Roach, and he has this incredible gummy recipe. And it's like everybody like makes Matt's gummies in there. So I'm gonna send those over to you because I'm not like a big gummies maker actually myself. But it's a coconut oil recipe that he uses there. And a lot of people like take those Albanese gummies and then they melt them down. And then they just add a little bit of concentrate coconut oil and then pour them into molds. And I think that was a really hot way to do it too. Like Matt's way is a little more like an actual making the gummies.
Give me the cheater gummies all day long, bro. Love that.
Jerry, this brownie is whooping my ass.
Is it the favorite thing you've made with this, or what is?
I don't know yet. Like, I haven't hit a favorite. Like, I haven't hit like an immediate like repeat. Like, I haven't hit an immediate sweet spot where it's like, yep, I'm gonna do that again. But I haven't really tried. Like, so far it's been like boxed recipes where it's like just using the 1/3 cup of oil or whatever. I haven't done anything to my own inspiration. I haven't done anything on the grill.
I was just about to ask you, did any barbecue earlier?
I will. I'm gonna do some crossover videos this year, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some Weber Kettle Club meets 420 Vape Zone videos, and I'm gonna try to do it in a fun way. Did I mention this brownie is whooping my ass?
Yeah, you did, man.
I feel like my eyelids are somehow fusing with my kneecaps and like forcing me to like roll up into this ball. Like I feel like this energy that's like bundling me to. That's weird. Like it's a weird, and that's how the body high has been from these brownies. Like before, like I felt like I melted. Like I literally felt like I melted under my desk.
Fetal brownies, man.
You ever see that ooze stuff that you put on your keyboard and it kind of like oozes down into the keys and then you peel it up and it peels up all the dirt and shit?
No, that's brilliant. You can do that?
Well, that's what I felt like with my hands on the keyboard. It felt like my fingers had like trickled down in between the little parts in between the keys, and if I peeled my hand up, it would be covered with a waffle of grossness. But it didn't happen like that. I peeled my hand up and it looked normal.
But it felt like that.
But it felt like that, yeah. And this brownie is the extreme body high. Extreme body high.
So how much weed do we think is in this brownie? Like, what are we going at here, man? Have you broken down the mathy on that stuff?
It was about 6 ounces worth.
In the whole thing, or in your third of a tray?
Into the oil.
6 ounces.
Into the oil. Yeah.
6 ounces?
When I decarbed it, it was 6 ounces of herb that I had ground up finely to fill.
Into how much
this.
oil?
Once it decarbed, it went down like halfway, and I added one jar of oil, like of coconut oil.
To thin it out, or you mean that's what was left in the thing?
No, as my liquid.
Okay.
Like it was all decarbed weed, and I added the jar of oil.
All right.
And at first it didn't quite cover everything, but once I kind of stirred it around a little bit and I think I added like 4 more tablespoons of oil, or another portion of oil from the next jar, just to get it to completely cover. And then when it was done infusing, which has 4 modes, the infuse mode, once it was done infusing, I found out that my French press plunger fits perfectly inside here.
Nice.
So I was able to like squish down all my herb and then pour out the oil. And what's nice about this unit, and I can't fondle it around too much, the base is separate from the electronics.
Right.
And this portion here is dishwasher safe. Like, even though it has like all the lights and the buttons.
No shit.
And I believe it. I ran it under the water and scrubbed it and everything, and it's fine. Like, it seems to be all water safe. I didn't run it through the dishwasher. And please double check the instructions before putting your device in the dishwasher, because I don't want to be responsible for it if it's a misquote.
Yeah,
but I swear their instructions said it was dishwasher safe.
We'll check before we do the edits. cut that shit out if it's not. But that's, I mean, no, but it feels water resistant, so I get you there, man. I just never really thought about it, but there's nothing. Yeah, dude, those are sealed up, so you're probably right. So okay, so hang on. So then, how much of that oil did you use for the whole brownie recipe?
A half a cup.
How many ounces were in the jar?
Shit.
Was it?
I don't know. Fluid. 14 ounces.
Was it a big mayonnaise jar or was it a little jar?
It wasn't a big mayonnaise jar. It was a medium-sized. It wasn't mayonnaise, but yeah, it was coconut oil.
Okay, I'm gonna say 16 ounces, and half a cup would be a quarter of that. It'd be 4 ounces. So, did it look like there was about 3/4 left in your?
Yep.
Okay, so if you had a quarter of your oil and there were 6 ounces in there, then that's 1.5 ounces in the oil that you threw down in the brownie. You ate a third of it, so you're popping down about a half ounce of decarb and infused of whatever you put with the larfin trim.
Oh, that explains a lot right now.
Come on,
There's
guys.
still one clip that I didn't talk about. So this thing has multiple modes. This is when she talks about how we had a really good conversation after this clip where she talks about how legalization kind of like opened up the science for this.
And I think that because cannabis has been illicit for so long, there naturally has, a lot of this stuff. Even when, like I said, I was starting, you saw wildly different opinions or, about how you should be decarbing. And in my mind, I'm an attorney, so that's kind of the traditional career that I had as I was at the same time learning about all this cannabis stuff. So on one hand, I'm going to law school and becoming a lawyer and raising my son. On the other hand, I'm like learning about cannabis and fighting the stigma around that, and trying to make a change there, but through all of this, it's kind of like there has to be a right answer here, right? It can't be that some people are saying you decarb for 20 minutes and other people are saying it's 12 hours, right? Like, there just has to be a right answer here. And that's what really led me to go to the lab and start testing that up. And again, that's all because of legalization. Like, why was the lab able to open here? Because we got medical. And so I think that for good reason, for many years, all of this was really shrouded in mystery, because cannabis is illegal and you couldn't even find out like basic answers to things like how to do this. And because of that, things got very muddy because people just go based on like, oh, maybe a test result they saw. I used to see people like quoting this graph that was like from the 1970s that was like testing like something that wasn't even applicable. And you know how the internets are, you know what I mean? They'll just go and run with something and all of a sudden it's like, it's like playing a game of telephone and you're not getting right information because it's all based off inaccurate information from the beginning. And so that's definitely what Ardent stands for. We do a lot of testing. We do like a lot of blogs and, we have a lot of free guides and things like that just explain like testing around infusing milk and infusing other, items, and people just having an understanding of, cool, like, what am I actually going to be getting out of this? Like, what's the science behind it and kind of what can I expect? And then people can make their own choices about how they want to do things.
She's really right. Like, I remember like for 420 Vape Zone, when I first put together my YouTube video strategy, and I plotted out like, I want to make these 50 vape videos and I want to make these 10 general cannabis videos about like edibles and growing or whatever. One of them was edibles and decarbing and CannaButter. And when I was doing the research, I found everything was fucking different when it comes to like decarb instructions, both time and temperature. And if you were to take all those informations and plot them out, you'd think that they would all be like, oh, the people that recommend more time recommend a lower temperature, and the people that recommend less time recommend a higher temperature. But that's not always the case. There's plenty of anecdotal flip-flops and numbers that are just fucking all over the place. Since everything's been illegal, there hasn't been a great source of good information. Now that there's legality holes, people are starting to use it, and Chanel's one of them. She's using some real science. High five, Chanel.
Dude, high five, high 10, hang 10, all that shit. She's killing it, dude. She's killing it. We'll get that whole interview up for you guys, and it's an hour long, and it's probably going to be only 50 minutes long when the edits are done, because she talks a lot.
There's
and we didn't want to
cut.
shut her up at all. She's amazing.
Yeah,
nothing to cut.
Wait, there was one thing I was going to say.
About the Ardent?
Oh, yes. Exactly. At first, gotta be honest with you, like when I looked it up on the website, saw it can decarb, cool. It can infuse, cool. It can bake, okay. So I watched a video. It was pretty entertaining. It was the Leafly video, and he baked like a banana bread. And I thought the baked loaf thing looked a little like unappetizing. The little thing that she used with the little inserts, the little personal pot pies.
Yeah.
Much more fucking cool.
Yeah.
But the big thing that stood out to me before I received it, before I tried it, before I even talked to Chanel, is the price tag at $350. It's a lot of money for a device like this. However, now knowing that there's science into it and that how the technology works, I would say it's a viable. Like it's worth that price. It's a premium price, but man, I've used it a lot, and I never got around to really decarbing in my Instant Pot and on the stovetop frequently, because I never really felt the right comfort zone.
Right.
You know, with the time and temperature thing. Like every time I had to fucking Google it. It's like, okay, 40 minutes at, this temperature.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you now, I probably won't bake in it a lot. I don't even know if I'll infuse it in a lot, because she talks about how she likes to just decarb and sprinkle. That's right down my fucking alley. I don't want to change anything. I just want to add weed to it. So that's what I've done a lot since she told us how that worked. I mean, I'm telling you, there's been, I think every day in a row since I started, I come in and I put some in and I decarb, and then I have it and I can put some on the food or vape it or whatever. I've been vaping it mostly. I just started with the food, but I'm excited about that, man, because that's going to help me figure out, how much I need. I'll be able to dose and make it easy. But what's great about it is I'm the guy who always fucked it up in the toaster oven or whatever. It was like, I didn't know how hot it was. I'm not sure what the temperature really is. I don't know what it should be anyhow, with all that differing instructions, plus the time that it's at different temperatures and all that. And that's what's great about this, is the algorithms that she's baked into it are all about, from her science. She knows, how long you can stay at a certain temperature, and then what the next one, how long, and she's figured all that out. And I'm just really impressed. And I like the brainlessness and the ease of it to everyday decarb, and try something different, man. I need something different. I love vaping, but I got to add something to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How is the vaping decarb weed going tonight? Tonight you've been vaping that, right?
Yeah. I can't say that I'm getting whacked. So far, I'm not. Well, we'll see. This is the last bit of it here. If after this I'm dopey, then it works. If not, then it's probably on par with everything else I do at the moment. But I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep trying it. I want to add some keef to it. I want to decarb some keef, like she said, and start put that in the food. I got a lot of keef around here.
That sounds yummy.
Yeah. I want to say thanks one more time to Chanel first. Great time. Can't wait to hang again. Thank you. We're going to beat these up and have fun with it. get all the weed that I wanted to.
Did you hit record?
No, should I right now? Go for it. Start recording. Go. Sorry, carrots. Anyhow, we're on now.